Fault lines. The storm had blown through Millhaven by morning, leaving behind a cold, sour smell and streets littered with broken branches. Inside the Keller house, the wreckage was less visible but far more damaging. Anna Keller stood at the kitchen sink, absently rinsing a coffee mug she hadn't used. Her fingers trembled under the warm water. Across the room, Daniel Keller leaned against the doorway, arms folded, watching her like a man waiting for a verdict. Neither spoke. The night before, Anna had found the text message, a careless fragment of intimacy from a woman named Marissa. Not a name Anna recognized, but the tone needed no translation. Can't stop thinking about last night. Miss you already? Anna had stared at the glowing screen until her vision blurred. Daniel had been asleep, or pretending to be. She hadn't woken him. She hadn't needed to. Now, in the weak morning light, she finally spoke. How long? Daniel shifted. It was just a mistake. A mistake you made more than once? Her voice was flat, terrifying even to herself. He rubbed his hands over his face. 3 months. But it didn't mean anything, Anna. It was stupid. I ended it. Anna turned off the tap. The dripping water echoed in the silence. She thought about their children upstairs, still sleeping, oblivious, about the mortgage, the PTA meetings, the dinner parties they hosted with tight smiles. I don't even know who you are, she whispered. He took a step toward her. She flinched. He stopped. I made a terrible mistake. I panicked. After losing the promotion, I don't know. I felt like I was drowning. And she was easy. Easy. The word lodged like glass in Anna's throat. In the days that followed, the house became a war zone. Anna avoided Daniel when she could, hurled accusations when she couldn't. He responded with apologies, rationalizations, silent despair. The investigation began quietly. A friend of Anna's, Callie, sharp-eyed and fiercely loyal, dug into Marissa's life. It turned out Marissa had a history, 2 other affairs, one of which had ended with the woman's husband slashing Marissa's tires and filing a restraining order. She's not stable, Anna, Callie said, her voice low as they sat in Anna's car outside a grocery store. Maybe even dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Anna muttered. She couldn't summon anger toward Marissa, not really. It was Daniel who had broken the vows. Daniel who had built a life with her and then detonated it from the inside. One night, Anna opened Daniel's laptop while he showered. Old habits of trust died hard. In the inbox, she found emails. Deleted, but not irretrievably, with timestamps that stretched back farther than 3 months. A year, maybe more. The betrayal widened like a sinkhole. When she confronted him, Daniel broke. He cried. Not pretty, performative tears, but guttural sobs that stripped away his dignity. He confessed to a second affair, a colleague from his old job. No emotional connection, he insisted. Just loneliness, just need. Anna found herself frighteningly calm. The following day, a lawyer's card appeared on the kitchen counter. She didn't pick it up. She simply stared at it. Suspense built like a thunderhead as Anna weighed her options. She could destroy him. The evidence was enough. Adultery, moral turpitude. She could win the house, the custody battle, or she could stay. Try to salvage the life they'd built, not for him, never again for him, but for herself. For their children. One evening, weeks after the first revelation, they sat at opposite ends of the couch, a chasm between them. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, Daniel said, voice raw. You're right, Anna said. He nodded, accepting it. They stared at the muted television, flickering with a news report about a local break-in, a different betrayal, a different shattered trust. But, she said slowly, Maybe someday we can find something new? Not what we had before? That's dead, but something else. He turned his head slightly, just enough that she saw the glint of hope in his eyes. Anna closed hers. She wasn't offering forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. What she offered was something messier, more complicated, the possibility of a future, twisted and gnarled, but still alive. Outside, the wind picked up again, rattling the window panes. Anna thought of fault lines beneath the earth, always shifting, always threatening to crack wide open without warning. She could live with that, for now. The days blurred into one another after that. Anna moved through them like a ghost, tending to the kids, answering emails, making dinner, all the while feeling as if she were living someone else's life. Daniel kept his distance, careful, not to crowd her, but sometimes she caught him watching her with a desperation that bordered on pathetic. The lawyer's card remained on the counter, untouched. One Saturday morning, Anna sat at the kitchen table with her laptop open. An email from Callie blinked at her. "You don't owe him anything. Remember that." Anna closed it without replying. Later that afternoon, while the kids played outside, Anna found Daniel sitting on the porch steps, sipping coffee. He looked worn down, older somehow. The weight of his guilt clung to him like a second skin. She sat beside him without speaking. They watched their daughter, Lila, chasing their son, Sam, around the backyard, their laughter piercing the heavy air. "I had a dream last night," Daniel said quietly. "You and me. We were on a boat somewhere. Lost. You wouldn't even look at me." He gave a hollow laugh. "And I couldn't find the oars." Anna said nothing. The image was too apt to comment on. Daniel set his coffee down, staring straight ahead. "I don't expect you to forget, Anna. I don't even expect you to love me anymore. But if there's any way you can let me try to be better, not for us even, just for myself." The old anger rose up like a tide, threatening to drown her, and yet under it, there was something else. Exhaustion. A slow, grinding weariness from carrying so much hate. The problem with hatred was that it needed feeding, and Anna was so tired. She thought of Callie, of the lawyer, of escape, of starting over, of loneliness. A car slowed as it passed their house, its engine rumbling low. Anna caught the driver's eyes briefly, a stranger, before the car moved on. But it left a feeling behind, sharp and unpleasant, the sense that someone was watching, someone who might know more than they should. Anna's mind flickered to Marissa, to the woman's messy, dangerous history, to a creeping sense that maybe the betrayal wasn't finished yet. She rose abruptly. "I need to know something, Daniel." He looked up. "Is it really over? With her? Completely?" Daniel met her gaze with a steady, haunted one of his own. "Yes, I swear to you." She watched his face, searching for cracks, lies. She wasn't sure if she believed him, not completely, but for now, it was enough. She nodded once, turned, walked inside. At the kitchen counter, her phone buzzed. A new message from an unknown number. "You think it's over? It's not." Anna stared at it, heart thudding. The storm wasn't over at all. Anna gripped the phone so tightly her knuckles whitened. The kids' laughter outside floated in, tinny and distant. She turned the phone over, hiding the screen against her palm, and glanced toward the porch. Daniel hadn't moved. He was still, sitting there, hunched forward, elbows on his knees like a man waiting to be sentenced. She didn't show him the message. Instead, Anna moved through the house, checking the locks without really thinking about it. Front door, back door, the windows in the den. Her mind raced. Was it Marissa? Was it some friend of Marissa's? Someone who knew? The silence that had once protected her now felt oppressive. That evening, Anna lay in bed with the lamp still on. Daniel slept fitfully beside her, jerking awake at intervals. She watched the shadows dance on the ceiling, wondering how far betrayal could stretch before it became something else entirely, something criminal. Another message came at 11:32 p.m. He lied to you. He always will. No signature, no number, she recognized. Heart pounding, Anna tapped out a reply. Who is this? No answer. She stared at the screen until her eyes burned, then finally set the phone down. She didn't wake Daniel. She didn't trust him to tell the truth. Not anymore. Over the next few days, the messages continued. Small, sharp punctures. In her day, ask him about the hotel in Norfolk. You're not the first woman he's ruined. How can you sleep beside a stranger? Anna said nothing. She became adept at hiding her reactions, at slipping her phone into her pocket before Daniel could notice. She needed time to think, to plan. Meanwhile, Daniel tried. God, he tried. He took over the morning school runs. He cooked. He even suggested marriage counseling, something he would have laughed off 6 months ago. Anna smiled in all the right places, nodded, pretended, and waited. One Friday night, after putting the kids to bed, Anna finally said, "We need to talk." Daniel froze in the hallway, hands full of folded laundry. "Okay," he said, cautious. Anna sat at the kitchen table, the wood worn smooth from years of use. She slid her phone across to him, screen facing up. The texts glared at them both in the harsh overhead light. Daniel read them, his face draining of color. "I swear to you, Anna, I don't know who that is," he said, his voice cracked. "I haven't spoken to Marissa in months. She's unstable. You saw the reports." "But you're sure you ended it?" Anna pressed. "Yes." His hands trembled as he pushed the phone back toward her. "I made mistakes. I'll live with them for the rest of my life. But this isn't me." Anna believed part of him. She could see it, the open terror, the pleading. But trust was a fragile thing, and hers had already been smashed once. She couldn't afford to be careless again. "I need proof," she said. "Anything. What do you want?" "Meet with her. In public. I want to see her reaction when you tell her, to her face, that it's over." Daniel flinched. "You're serious." As a heart attack, he hesitated. Too long. And Anna felt a cold certainty wrap around her spine. Something more was going on. That night, after Daniel finally agreed, Anna sat up long after he went to bed. She opened her laptop, her search history already a maze of questions. How to trace a text message, how to gather evidence of harassment, restraining orders, Millhaven County. Outside, a car idled down the street again. Slow, too slow. Anna rose, pulled aside the curtain just enough to peek out. A dark sedan sat under the broken streetlight, engine rumbling, watching, waiting. She let the curtain fall back into place. Her heart thudded painfully against her ribs. The future she had imagined, the one she was fighting for, tilted dangerously, out of reach. Tomorrow, they would meet Marissa. Tomorrow, the truth would finally surface. Anna didn't know if their marriage would survive it. She didn't know if she would survive it. But she was done being afraid. The next afternoon, Anna chose the location carefully. A busy cafe downtown, tucked between a bookstore and a law office. Somewhere public, with witnesses. Somewhere even the boldest of liars would hesitate. Daniel sat across from her, fidgeting, with his wedding ring. He looked pale, worn thin. He kept glancing at the door as if waiting for a ghost to walk through it. Anna watched him without sympathy. At precisely 3 p.m., Marissa arrived. She was not what Anna expected. No heavy makeup, no overdone glamour. Just jeans, a leather jacket, and a sharp, feral look in her dark eyes. She spotted Daniel instantly, smirked, walked over without hesitation. "Danny," she said, sliding into the booth beside him. "Too close." Daniel shifted away, face tightening. "Marissa, this isn't social." Marissa's gaze flicked to Anna. "The wife," she said. Not a question. Her smile widened. "Finally decided to let her in on our little secret?" Anna folded her hands neatly on the table. "We're here for closure, Marissa. Nothing else." Marissa's lips twisted. "Closure?" She leaned back, arms stretched along the booth's top. "Is that what you told her, Danny? That it's over? That you were just using me to fill your pathetic little gaps?" Daniel said nothing. His knuckles were white on the tabletop. Marissa laughed, low and mean. "You're a coward. Always were." Anna's phone buzzed in her pocket. Another text, but she ignored it, eyes locked on Marissa. "Is there something you want to say?" Anna asked coolly. "Oh, honey." Marissa leaned forward, lowering her voice. "You have no idea who you're married to." She reached into her bag. Anna tensed, heart thudding. But it was just a manila envelope, thick and battered. She slid it across the table. "Enjoy," Marissa said, standing up. She tossed her hair over her shoulder. "You deserve each other." And then she was gone, slipping into the crowded sidewalk, swallowed by the city. Daniel stared at the envelope like it was a ticking bomb. Anna didn't hesitate. She pulled it toward her and opened it. Inside were photographs, grainy, time-stamped, of Daniel and Marissa, hotel rooms, parking lots, a bar in Norfolk. There were emails, too, printed out. Flirty, intimate, unmistakable. Worse, a few dated well beyond the 3-month timeline Daniel had confessed to. Anna felt something crack inside her. Something final. She looked up at him. Daniel opened his mouth, some desperate defense forming, but she lifted one hand sharply. "Don't," she said. Her voice was calm, icy. The phone in her pocket buzzed again. She pulled it out. "He's not just a liar. He's a thief, too." Anna frowned. A second later, another text came, this one with an attachment, a scan of a bank statement from an account she'd never seen before, $45,000 withdrawn over the last year. Her blood ran cold. Daniel's face paled as he saw the screen. "Anna," he said hoarsely. "Listen to me. I can explain." "No," she said, her voice shaking now, rising. Heads turned toward them. She didn't care. "You lied to me. You stole from me, from our family." "It was just temporary. I was going to put it back," he said, frantic, grabbing at her wrist. "I was drowning after the layoff. I had debts, and Marissa, she said she could help. She had connections." Anna yanked her hand free. Revulsion twisted in her stomach. She realized now that Daniel had never been desperate because of the layoff. He had been desperate because he was trapped by his own cowardice, his own greed. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was criminal. Her marriage wasn't just broken, it was a crime scene. Outside, the sky cracked with thunder. Anna stood slowly, clutching the envelope and her phone. Daniel rose too, reaching for her. "Please," he whispered. "Anna, think about the kids. Think about everything we built." She stared at him, the man she had loved, the man she no longer recognized. "I am thinking about them," she said, and she walked away. In the parking lot, Anna leaned against her car, breathing hard, feeling the rain begin to mist against her skin. Her phone buzzed one more time. "Ready to finish this? Call me. I can help." There was a number attached. Anna stared at it, heart pounding, caught between fury and fear, between revenge and survival. The future was a void now, dark and unknown. She had a choice. Destroy him, utterly, or walk away, and start over clean. The rain began to fall harder, washing the city in silver. Anna slid into the car, engine purring to life, the manila envelope on the passenger seat, and she drove, not knowing if she was running toward freedom or something much, much darker. Anna drove aimlessly at first, the city unfolding around her in a blur of wet lights and red brake glows. The number from the last text burned in her mind. It would be so easy to call, to lean into the anger still roiling inside her, to punish Daniel the way he deserved. But easy didn't mean right, not anymore. She pulled into a deserted gas station at the edge of town, engine ticking in the cooling rain. The envelope sat accusingly beside her. Daniel's crimes, the lies, the theft, heavy as a second heartbeat. The phone trembled in her hand as she dialed the number. One ring, two, then, "Anna Keller," a voice said, low and controlled, male, unfamiliar. "I was hoping you'd call." "Who are you?" she demanded. "A friend," he said. "Of sorts. Someone who doesn't like what your husband's been doing." Lightning split the sky. Anna gripped the steering wheel for grounding. "You're the one sending the texts." "Yes." "Why?" "Because Daniel isn't just a liar and a cheat," the man said. "He's involved in things you don't even know about. Financial crimes, fraud. He's been laundering money through that fake consulting firm he set up after the layoff." Anna closed her eyes. Her stomach churned. Part of her wanted to hang up, pretend this wasn't happening. "He's sloppy," the man continued. "And people are noticing. Dangerous people." "What kind of dangerous?" Anna whispered. "The kind that don't forgive debts." A heavy silence. Anna thought of the car idling outside her house, of the late-night messages, of Daniel's hollow-eyed fear he never fully managed to hide. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "I want you safe," he said simply. "And your children. If you work with me, I can help you disappear, clean break. Or you can stay and get dragged down when the investigations start. And they will start." Anna pressed a hand to her mouth. She could leave. Start over somewhere new. Protect the kids. Let Daniel sink under the weight of his own betrayals, but something inside her, something stubborn and wounded, hesitated. "Why should I trust you?" she said. "You shouldn't," the man said without heat. "But you should trust yourself. Look at what you already know." The line went dead. Anna stared at the phone, rain pounding on the windshield like 1,000 desperate fingers. She had a choice to make. That night, Anna didn't return to the house. She parked in a motel outside of Millhaven, registering under a fake name. She didn't call Daniel. She didn't even look at her wedding ring when she slipped it off and left it on the bedside table. Instead, she spent hours reviewing the documents Marissa had given her, cross-referencing them with the bank statements the anonymous man had sent. Everything pointed to the same truth. Daniel was not just a bad husband. He was a criminal. And he had put all of them, Anna, the kids, in danger. At 2:30 a.m., Anna made two decisions. First, she would protect her children at all costs. Second, she would not run. Daniel had taken enough from her. He would not take her home, her life, her future. She texted the unknown number. "I'm in, but not to disappear. I want him exposed." 3 dots pulsed, then a reply. "Good. Meet me tomorrow. Bring everything." Anna leaned back against the headboard, the rain finally easing outside. She wasn't the woman she had been 3 months ago, or even that morning. She wasn't running anymore. She was fighting. Anna sat in the motel parking lot the next morning, gripping the steering wheel until her palms ached. The man had sent an address, an abandoned strip mall on the outskirts of town. Broad daylight, public enough that she didn't feel like she was walking into a trap, not entirely, but deserted enough to make her nerves hum with warning. She had stuffed the manila envelope, her laptop, and her phone into a battered leather tote. Everything Daniel had hidden, or thought he had, was now in her possession. The parking lot cracked under her boots as she stepped out of the car. The strip mall was a relic from another era, its shop windows boarded and spray-painted. Only one figure stood waiting in front of the old hardware store, a man in a navy rain jacket and jeans, hands tucked casually into his pockets. He was younger than she expected, maybe mid-30s, sharp eyes, something in his posture, relaxed, but ready. Told Anna he was used to reading danger. He nodded once. "Anna?" She stopped several feet away. "Who are you?" "You can call me Cole." He gave a dry smile. "Let's skip the pleasantries. You have the evidence?" She lifted the tote slightly. "Good," Cole said, "because things are moving faster than expected. Your husband's name came up in a flagged transaction yesterday. Law enforcement's already circling. If you want any control over how this ends, we have to move now." Anna's mouth went dry. "What are you talking about?" Cole pulled out a battered folder from under his jacket and handed it over. Inside were screenshots, banking transactions, offshore accounts, fake shell companies. Daniel's name was everywhere. But it was more than that. There were emails between Daniel and other people, names she didn't recognize, about moving product, clearing debts, expanding the network. Anna looked up, heart hammering. Product? Cole's face was grim. Drugs, weapons, money laundering. He's not just embezzling from his fake company, Anna. He's laundering cartel money through Millhaven. She stumbled back a step, nausea rising. It didn't seem possible. Not Daniel. Not the man who packed lunches for their kids, who coached Little League. But hadn't she already learned that love could blind you to almost anything? "You can cooperate," Cole said gently. "Work with me. We'll protect you and your kids. You testify, you walk away clean." "And if I don't?" she rasped. Cole shrugged. "Then you go down with him. When this blows up, and it will blow up, the feds won't care that you were just the wife. Not with your name on the mortgage of a house paid for by dirty money. Not when there's a joint bank account they'll freeze." Anna hugged the tote to her chest. She thought of Lila and Sam, their small hands reaching for her, trusting her. She thought of the house, the memories, the life they had built like fools on a crumbling foundation. "I'll help," she said, her voice steel. "Good," Cole said. "Then let's start." Over the next 3 hours in the back of a grimy diner, Anna signed documents, gave statements, and handed over everything. She told Cole everything she knew, every timeline, every lie, every withdrawal she had questioned but let pass. When she finished, she felt hollowed out. Scraped raw, Cole pushed a burner phone across the table. "Use this. I'll contact you when it's time to make your move." Anna nodded numbly. "And Anna," he added, his voice softening, "you did the right thing." She didn't answer. She wasn't sure she believed that yet. That night, she sat in her motel room staring at the burner phone. At 9:47 p.m., it buzzed. "Tomorrow morning. Tell him you want to meet. Say you want to forgive him. Bring him to the lake house. We'll do the rest." Anna stared out the window at the dark road beyond. Forgiveness. The final lie. She would lure Daniel into the trap with the promise of absolution, the very thing he craved, and when it was over, when the agents rushed in and everything Daniel had built collapsed, would she feel vindicated or just empty? Anna lay back on the bed, staring at the cracked ceiling. Tomorrow would be the end. But the end of what? Her marriage, her illusions, herself? She still didn't know. The morning air was brittle with cold as Anna pulled into the driveway of the lake house. Their lake house. It sat like a memory on the edge of the water, gray and shivering under a low, heavy sky. They hadn't been here since last summer, before the affair, before the secrets had spilled out like blood from a wound. Anna killed the engine and waited. Cole's voice echoed in her mind. "Keep him calm. Keep him there. We'll be nearby. You'll be safe. Safe." The word felt almost meaningless now. At 10:07 a.m., Daniel's car rumbled up the dirt road, pulling into the gravel beside her. Anna forced herself to smile when he stepped out. Forced. Herself not to shrink away when he came around the hood and reached for her, uncertainty in his eyes. She let him touch her arm, just briefly, then pulled away under the pretense of grabbing her tote from the passenger seat. "Thanks for agreeing to meet," he said, voice rough with exhaustion. "I've missed you. I've been losing my mind, Anna." She gave a small, brittle laugh. "Me too." They walked up the porch steps together, Daniel fiddling nervously with the keys. Anna caught him glancing around, searching for hidden eyes, a tail. He was already paranoid. He should be. Inside, the lake house smelled of wood dust and cold stone. Everything was exactly as they'd left it. The blanket folded over the back of the couch, the framed family photo on the mantel, the forgotten fishing poles leaning against the wall, ghosts of a life already over. Daniel dropped into one of the armchairs, raking his hands through his hair. "Anna, whatever you've heard, whatever you think you know, I swear, I can fix this. I can make it right. I just need time. I need you to believe in me." Anna sat opposite him, heart thudding painfully. It was all lies. Still, even now, he couldn't help himself. "Daniel," she said, voice shaking slightly, "I want to believe you. I want to believe the man I married is still in there somewhere." His face crumpled. Relief and shame warred in his expression. He leaned forward, reaching for her hands. Anna let him. For a moment. "I forgive you," she whispered. He closed his eyes, a broken sound escaping him. And that's when the SUV pulled into the driveway, tires crunching over gravel. Daniel stiffened instantly. His eyes snapped open, wild and cornered. "What's going on?" he hissed. Anna stood slowly, stepping back, heart hammering against her ribs. Out the window, she saw two men in plain clothes step out, badges flashing. Cole was among them. Calm, implacable. "Anna," Daniel rasped, rising from the chair. "What did you do?" She shook her head, tears blurring her vision. "You did this, Daniel, not me." He surged toward her, grabbing her wrist. "No, you don't understand. They'll kill me, Anna. They'll kill all of us." She wrenched free, just as the door burst open. "Daniel Keller!" one of the men barked. "Federal agents! Hands where we can see them!" Chaos. Daniel lunged for the back door. A rabbit panicked in a snare, but Cole was faster. He tackled Daniel hard against the wall, pinning him effortlessly. Anna stumbled back against the dining table, gasping. Handcuffs clicked. Daniel sagged in Cole's grip, defeated, panting. He turned his head, blood trickling from a split lip, and looked at Anna. There was no love in his gaze now, only betrayal. "You think this saves you?" He spat. "You have no idea who you've crossed." Anna wrapped her arms around herself, shivering. The agents read Daniel his rights as they dragged him out into the gray morning. Cole lingered for a moment, meeting Anna's eyes. "You're free now," he said quietly. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe this was the end. Hours later, when the lake house was empty again, Anna stood alone on the porch, watching the ripples on the dark water. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at the screen, a number she didn't recognize. Message, he was only a small piece. "You're still not safe." Anna sank down onto the steps, clutching the phone, heart hammering in her ears. The story wasn't over. It had just changed shape. She sat there as the wind rose around her, scattering leaves across the lake, and wondered, had she saved her family? Or had she just opened a door she could never close? 3 months later, the town of Millhaven wore a different face now. The news had broken wide, a major money laundering ring operating through small towns along the coast, tied to international cartels. Daniel Keller's name had been splashed across every paper and news site for weeks. Photos of him in an orange jumpsuit. Headlines with words like betrayal, corruption, family tragedy. Anna's phone had rung non-stop at first. Reporters, lawyers, old friends too, stunned to know what to say. She stopped answering after the first week. The kids were the hardest part. Lila, 9 years old, asked too many questions Anna didn't know how to answer. Sam, just 6, mostly stayed silent, clinging to Anna like a small shadow. They knew Daddy wasn't coming home. They didn't know why. Not really. Anna sat now at a window table in the town library, the place she worked part-time under a different name. A stack of returned books sat beside her, ignored. Outside, people bustled past, bundled against the still sharp spring wind. She had rebuilt the basics: a rented townhouse, a car in her own name, bank accounts carefully watched. She met with Cole's contacts once a month. Check-ins, safety, precautions. They said the big threat was neutralized, but still advised caution. There were others higher up the chain, they said. People who might come looking to clean up loose ends. People like Anna. Some days she woke in a cold sweat, convinced someone was standing over her bed. Some days she slept through the night and woke feeling guilty for it. A soft chime startled her. The library door. She looked up automatically and froze. A man stood just inside the doorway. Dark jacket, familiar build. For a heartbeat, her blood turned to ice until he turned slightly, revealing a face she didn't recognize. Just a stranger. No threat. Her hands shook anyway as she reached for her tea. This was her life now. Hypervigilance layered over grief, mistrust stitched into every breath, freedom at a cost. She had traded one kind of prison for another. Still, she was alive. Her children were safe. For now. She stood, gathering the books into her arms, and caught her reflection in the window. The woman who stared back looked older, sharper, a stranger and herself, all at once. Anna lifted her chin. She would survive this. Whatever. This became next. She walked back into the library stacks, disappearing among the rows of forgotten stories, already writing the next chapter of her own. Anna found the letter in her mailbox. No stamp, no return address, just a plain white envelope slipped between grocery flyers and utility bills. She almost threw it away without opening it, muscle memory now, keeping anything unfamiliar at arm's length. But something about it, the carefulness, the weight of it, made her pause. Inside was a single sheet of paper. I can help you, but it will cost you. Meet me. Thursday, 11 p.m. The old marina. Come alone. No signature, no number. Anna stood on the porch for a long moment, the letter fluttering in her hand like a broken-winged bird. The marina had been abandoned for years, since the hurricane gutted the docks, and no one had bothered to rebuild. It was half an hour out of town, isolated, swallowed by weeds and silence, a perfect place for a meeting or an ambush. The logical part of her brain, the new part forged in fire, screamed at her to burn the letter, to forget it. Call Cole. Disappear again if she had to. But another part, the older, still aching part, needed to know. Who wanted to meet her, and what secrets about Daniel, or herself, still needed unburying. Thursday, 10:58 p.m. The marina was darker than she remembered. Anna parked at the edge of the lot, headlights off, heart pounding. The ruins of the dock stretched out into black water. A few broken boats bobbed under the moonlight, skeletal and sad. She stepped out, every nerve alive, hand wrapped around the small canister of pepper spray hidden in her coat pocket. A figure emerged from the shadows near the first pier. Male, slender, hooded. Anna stopped several feet away, every muscle ready to run or fight. "You came," the man said. His voice was soft, almost amused. "Who are you?" Anna demanded. He lowered his hood. For a moment, her mind refused to make sense of what she saw. Then she staggered back a step, breath catching in her throat. It wasn't Daniel, but the resemblance was unmistakable. "Name's Luke," he said. "Daniel's brother." Anna had heard the name once, in the early days of dating Daniel. A bad seed, a troublemaker, someone Daniel said was dead to him, apparently not dead enough. Luke smiled without warmth. "You think you know what happened," he said. "You don't know half of it. Daniel was just the fall guy." Anna's fists clenched. "What do you want from me?" Luke shrugged. "Information, leverage, maybe a little revenge. Depends how tonight goes." The water lapped at the docks behind him, whispering secrets. Anna stood frozen, the wind cutting through her coat, the future unfurling before her in two dark directions. Trust him, risk everything, or walk away, and wonder what other ghosts would. "Come knocking later. You want to survive this?" Luke said, his voice low and coaxing. "You're gonna need me." Anna stared at him, heart hammering, the letter burning in her coat pocket like a fuse waiting to be lit. The night waited, breathless, and Anna knew, whatever choice she made tonight, there was no going back. End of Book 1. Anna didn't answer Luke that night. Instead, she turned and walked away, heart hammering, feeling his eyes burning into her back, but she couldn't walk away from what he said. Over the next few days, the fear inside her shifted, from a dull ache to a living, breathing thing. Luke's warning echoed in her mind. Daniel was the fall guy. If that was true, then who else had been pulling strings behind the scenes, and why was Luke so sure Anna was still in danger? Plot thread number 1. The deeper web Anna begins her own investigation, trying to untangle the real network Daniel was caught in. She discovers that Millhaven itself, the little town she thought she knew, was part of the laundering operation. Local officials, businessmen, even people she trusted are implicated. She can't trust the police. She can't trust Cole's people anymore either, not fully. Too many leaks. Too many whispers, minor characters. Return Cole, still her handler but increasingly evasive, maybe compromised. Maya, Anna's estranged sister, a sharp, cynical lawyer who comes reluctantly to help. Lila's teacher, who notices. Things about Anna's kids, bruises of the emotional kind, and threatens to call child services if Anna keeps acting unstable. Anna is trapped. Protect her kids or dig for the truth. Plot thread 2. Luke's offer. Luke reappears, persistent and dangerous, offering Anna a devil's bargain. Help him bring down the true kingpin behind Daniel's fall, and in return, he'll guarantee her protection. But Luke has his own agenda, revenge. He wants more than justice. He wants to burn the entire network to the ground, and he doesn't care how many lives he destroys to do it. Anna finds herself torn. Trust Luke and risk becoming like the people she's fighting against, or go it alone, risking not just herself, but her children's future. The moral ambiguity sharpens. Every choice Anna makes will have a cost. Midpoint twist. Anna learns that Daniel had made a secret deal before his arrest. A deal meant to shield Anna and the kids from retaliation if he stayed silent. But now that Anna is stirring the pot, the protection is gone. Enemies she didn't even know existed are watching her, waiting, and they're not interested in forgiveness. Final build toward the climax. Anna must decide. Expose the full conspiracy and put herself and her kids in permanent danger, or cut a deal that will leave the real monsters in power but guarantee her family's safety. She arranges a meeting at the courthouse, a last-ditch effort to cut through the layers of lies. But betrayal waits there too. Someone close to her, someone she trusted, will turn on her. Possibly Maya, Cole, even Luke. In the final pages, Anna will have to act alone, without illusions, not to save a marriage, not to save a fantasy, but to save herself. Tone. Darker and grittier than the first book. Focus on survival, blurred lines between right and wrong. Emotional. Stakes remain deeply personal. It's about Anna's soul, not just the action. Ending possibilities. Bittersweet victory. Anna destroys the network but becomes someone colder, harder, a survivor, but not the woman she once was. Open-ended cliffhanger. Anna wins this round but glimpses a larger, even darker threat looming. Full circle. Anna fakes her death to vanish entirely, protecting her kids but losing all connections to her old life. The wind cut across the empty parking lot like a blade. Anna stood at the edge of the courthouse steps, staring at the cold stone of the building that had once been a symbol of safety, of law, of justice. Now it felt like a tomb. She pulled her coat tighter, her eyes scanning the scene. No one was watching her, or so it seemed. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a text from Cole. "We need to talk. Now." Her stomach twisted, the familiar knot tightening as she glanced around, making sure no one was paying attention. For the past few weeks, Cole had been distant, evasive. He said it was just the pressure of the case, that things were moving faster than expected. But Anna had learned to trust her gut, and right now it was screaming at her. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, followed. At first she thought it was paranoia. Daniel's arrest had done that to her, made her see shadows in every corner. But then, she'd noticed the small things. The way cars had been parked too long outside her townhouse. The unfamiliar faces in the crowd when she went to pick up Lila from school. People who knew too much. People who shouldn't be there. Her phone buzzed again. She answered this time, pressing it to her ear with a practiced calm she didn't feel. "Cole," she said, her voice tight. "What's going on? You've got to come to the office. Something's happened. It's not good." Anna's pulse quickened. "What's happened? Is it Daniel? What?" "I can't explain over the phone." His voice dropped, a warning in it now. "Just, please. It's important." Before she could respond, the line went dead. Anna's heart hammered in her chest. Her first instinct was to ignore the call, to turn away. But she couldn't. Not now. Not when everything was so close to crumbling around her. She glanced down at the courthouse. A place that should have been a symbol of law and order now felt like a labyrinth, a maze with no way out. She couldn't trust anything anymore. Not Cole, not the government, not the thin illusion of safety she'd built around her family. She had to go to him. 2 hours later, Cole's office smelled like coffee and stale paper, a strange mixture of familiarity and dread. Anna sat across from him, her eyes scanning his face for any sign of the man she used to trust. His posture was tense, his jaw tight, as he rubbed a hand over his face. "Anna," he began, "I wish I had better news." "Don't tell me you've been compromised," she said, her voice sharper than she meant. "You've been pulling away for weeks. What is it? Why don't you just—" He held up a hand, cutting her off. "It's not that. It's— Look, things are moving faster than we thought. There's a whole network out there we didn't anticipate." Anna's chest tightened. "What kind of network?" "Cole, I need you to tell me the truth." He shifted uncomfortably. "It's bigger than Daniel. Bigger than we even knew. The operation goes deeper than cartel money. There's a web of local officials, powerful people, all the way up to Washington. People who knew exactly what was happening." Anna's stomach dropped. "Local officials?" "People you'd never suspect. People in this town." "Who?" she demanded, leaning forward, but Cole was silent, his eyes darting to the window as if checking to see who might be listening. "I need you to be careful," he said finally. "There are eyes on you. I can't guarantee your safety anymore. We have to back off for now." She recoiled. "What do you mean, back off? You're telling me to trust these people after everything that's happened?" Cole's gaze hardened, his voice turning cold. "You don't understand, Anna. This isn't just about you or Daniel. It's about the entire town, the entire network." Anna stood up abruptly. "I don't give a damn about the town or the network. I care about my kids, and I care about getting to the truth." "I know, but—" "No." She slammed her hand down on his desk, the force of it rattling the coffee cup. "You were supposed to help me, Cole. You said you'd protect us." There was a moment of silence, thick with tension, before Cole finally spoke again, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm trying, Anna, but if we push too hard now, we might end up in deeper trouble than we can handle. We're not just fighting Daniel's lies anymore. We're fighting something much worse." The realization hit her like a slap. The walls were closing in. She was trapped in a cage of secrets, lies, and fear. And the only thing keeping her from breaking was her own will to survive. Anna's phone buzzed in her pocket again. This time, she didn't hesitate to check it. A single text message. "Luke's back in town. He knows you're looking into things. Be careful." Her blood turned to ice. Luke, Daniel's brother, the wild card. The man she barely trusted but who seemed to know more than anyone else, and he was watching her. "Cole, I need you to tell me everything," Anna said, her voice low but firm. "Everything you know about Daniel's brother, and about who else is in this, because I'm not backing off now, not anymore. To be continued." The air was thick with the scent of salt water and decay as Anna stood in front of the rundown warehouse by the old docks. The building loomed like a ghost, its windows boarded up, the walls cracked and chipped from years of neglect. This was Luke's place, a safe house, or so he'd called it when they first met. He'd offered her protection, a deal that felt like the beginning of a darker journey. Now, she was here to confront him, to figure out exactly what he wanted, what kind of game he was playing. She pulled the collar of her jacket higher, feeling the wind bite through her. The letter had been clear. Luke wanted her to meet him here, alone. It made no sense to trust him, but Anna had learned the hard way. Sometimes, the truth came from the most unlikely sources. Her boots scraped across the gravel as she moved toward the entrance, her heart pounding in her chest. She had no idea if Cole was right when he said there were too many eyes on her, but the feeling was getting harder to ignore. That gnawing sense that someone was always watching. She reached the rusted door, hesitated for just a second, and then knocked. 3 quick raps, as instructed. A few seconds passed before the door creaked open just enough for a face to appear. A man in his mid-30s, rough around the edges with a scar along his jawline. His eyes were cold and calculating, but there was something oddly familiar about him, like he was too close to the fire to step away. "You alone?" he asked, his voice clipped. Anna nodded. She didn't have to speak. The tension in the air did all the talking for her. She stepped inside without another word, the door closing, with a hollow thud behind her. The interior of the warehouse was dim, lit by a single bulb hanging from the ceiling, its light flickering with each gust of wind that slipped through the cracked walls. The smell of mildew and stale air hit her first, followed by the faintest scent of cigarette smoke. Luke was sitting at a metal table in the center of the room, his back to the wall, a chair empty across from him. A bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses sat on the table untouched. He looked different, harder, more dangerous than she remembered. "Sit," he said, his voice quiet but firm. Anna didn't move immediately. She crossed her arms and scanned the room, her eyes darting to the shadows that seemed to stretch far longer than they should have. This place felt like a trap, like it was designed to swallow her whole if she wasn't careful. "Why am I here, Luke?" Anna asked, her voice steady, though a knot of fear had begun to twist in her stomach. "What do you want from me?" Luke leaned back in his chair, watching her closely. I already told you, I can help you. He poured a drink, pushing one of the glasses toward her. You think you can take down this whole system on your own? You think Cole will help you? He's just a middleman, Anna. You're already in way over your head. She looked at the glass, then back at him. I'm not here for a drink. I'm here for the truth. Luke's eyes darkened. The truth? You want the truth? He leaned forward, his voice dropping. The truth is, your husband was nothing but a pawn in a game that's much bigger than you, me, or anyone else around here, and you— He paused, his eyes flicking toward her with a dangerous edge. You're being played by people who don't care about you, people who want you to stay in the dark. Anna swallowed hard. Who? People who've been in control of this town long before you ever walked through the door. Luke's words came slow, deliberate. I'm talking about people who run the show behind the scenes. You think this was all just some small-time money laundering ring? You have no idea what you're up against. The cartel, the money, the drugs, that's just a small part of it. It goes deeper than you can imagine. Her hands clenched into fists, and she took a step closer. Tell me what I'm supposed to do, Luke. You've been in this game longer than I have, so stop playing games and give me something I can use. Luke's eyes flashed with something unreadable. For a moment, he said nothing, just watched her as if deciding whether she could handle the truth. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. Daniel was a fall guy, sure, but he wasn't the only one. There's someone else you need to know about. Someone you didn't even see coming. Anna's breath caught in her throat. Who? Luke stood up, his movements sharp and deliberate. He didn't meet her eyes. Instead, he turned toward the far corner of the room where a file folder sat neatly on a shelf. He grabbed it and handed it to her, his fingers brushing hers just briefly. Anna opened the folder without hesitation, scanning the pages inside. Photos, documents, notes, but it was the last photograph that caught her attention. It was a blurry image, but enough of a detail stood out to make her stomach drop. It was Cole, standing in a crowd, shaking hands with someone she didn't recognize. A smile on his face. Too wide, too friendly. Anna felt the world tilt beneath her. She stared at the photo, the reality sinking in. No, she whispered, barely able to speak. This doesn't make sense. Luke leaned in close. His breath was cold against her ear. Trust no one, especially not Cole. He's not who you think he is. To be continued? The drive back from the warehouse felt like a dream, or more accurately, a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Anna's grip tightened on the steering wheel, her knuckles white against the cold leather. Cole, the one person who'd promised to help her, to protect her. And now, she was holding a photo of him, shaking hands with someone from the dark corners of a world she had only started to understand. The reality of it was a weight she could barely carry. When she reached her townhouse, she didn't go inside immediately. Instead, she sat in the car, staring at the photo of Cole, frozen in time, smiling like an ally to an enemy she didn't yet know. The wind howled, pulling at her thoughts, whispering that the world she had known, the one where everything made sense, was gone. The photo burned in her hand. It was a symbol, a proof of betrayal. If she was right, if Luke was right, then the entire game had changed. Her phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with Cole's name. She didn't answer. Instead, she grabbed her purse, locked the car, and headed inside. The kids were asleep, Lila tucked in bed, her small form curled beneath the blankets. Anna kissed her daughter's forehead, the quiet lull of the house a stark contrast to the chaos brewing just outside their doors. She whispered a promise to herself. Whatever happens, I will protect you. But as she turned to leave the room, a shadow crept over her. Her phone buzzed again, and this time, the message was clear. Meet me at the usual spot. Now. It was Cole. Her heart skipped a beat. She stood frozen in the doorway of Lila's room, torn between the urge to confront him immediately or take the time to gather her thoughts. But deep down, she knew that waiting any longer might cost her everything. She grabbed her keys. An hour later, the usual spot was a small, unassuming diner on the outskirts of town. A place Cole had always insisted was neutral ground, a place where they could talk without prying eyes. Anna sat at a booth near the back, her mind racing, the weight of the photo still burning in her pocket. Cole had arrived early, and when he saw her walk in, his face softened for a moment, his expression a mix of guilt and something else she couldn't quite read. He motioned for her to sit, but she hesitated. No more games, no more half-truths. Anna slid into the booth across from him, keeping her distance. The faint hum of the diner felt like a world away from the storm swirling inside her. "I got your text," she said, her voice low but steady. "We need to talk." Cole's jaw tightened. "I know. Anna, I didn't want you to get involved in all this, not like this." Her breath hitched. "It's too late for that, Cole. You've already got me involved. But now I'm trying to figure out why you've been keeping secrets, why you—" She reached into her bag, pulling out the photo. She dropped it onto the table between them, watching his reaction. "What is this, Cole?" He didn't flinch. His eyes scanned the photo, his lips tightening. "It's not what you think," he said quickly, but there was no conviction in his voice. Anna's eyes narrowed. "Then tell me what I'm supposed to think. I trusted you. I trusted you with everything, and now I'm finding out that you've been lying to me. For how long?" The diner seemed to grow quieter. The clinking of silverware and low conversations from the other patrons fading into a distant hum. Anna didn't care about anyone else. She only cared about the man sitting across from her, the man whose lies had wormed their way into every corner of her life. "I wasn't lying to you," Cole said, his voice strained. "Not at first. But things got more complicated. There are things you don't know about the case, about what Daniel was involved in." "I don't care about the case anymore," Anna snapped, her voice rising. "I care about the truth, the whole truth. If you think I'm going to sit here and let you manipulate me, let you manipulate my life, you're wrong." Cole's hand clenched around his coffee cup, his knuckles pale. "You think you know everything, don't you?" His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "You think you've figured it all out. But you're only scratching the surface, Anna. There's a lot more at play here than you can understand." "I understand that you've been hiding things from me," she said coldly. "I understand that you're part of this. I've seen it. I've seen the way you've been working both sides. You think I'm just supposed to ignore all of that? Pretend it doesn't matter?" "No, Anna. It's not that simple." Cole's voice cracked for the first time. "I never wanted you involved. You don't know what kind of game you're playing with. You think you're strong enough to take on these people? You don't know who you're up against." "Then help me understand," she shot back, her patience running thin. "Help me understand why you're in that photo with them. Who are these people? Who else is in on it? Who's pulling the strings?" Cole's face was unreadable. He leaned back, his eyes filled with something she couldn't place, regret, maybe, or fear. He exhaled sharply, then nodded toward the door, signaling her to keep her voice down. "Not here," he said. "This is too public." Anna's frustration spiked. "No, we talk here, now. If you want me to believe you, if you want me to help you, you don't get to control the narrative anymore, Cole. You don't get to hold the cards." He stared at her for a long moment, then slowly, reluctantly, he slid out of the booth. "Fine," he muttered, "but not tonight. I'm not putting you in danger again. You need to know everything, everything, Anna. But not here. To be continued. In this scene, the cracks between Anna and Cole are widening, and Anna's resolve is hardening. Cole is still trying to control the situation, but Anna is no longer the woman who blindly trusted him. The stakes have been raised. Cole now faces the consequences of his secrets, and Anna is dangerously close to uncovering the full truth. The car ride to the secluded cabin felt like an eternity. The headlights cut through the dark, the only light on the road as they wound their way out of town. Cole had been quiet for most of the drive, his hands gripping the wheel with white-knuckled intensity. Anna had remained silent as well, her thoughts swirling, trying to process everything she'd learned and still trying to make sense of the man she thought she knew. Every minute that passed, her distrust in him deepened. Each time she caught his eye, she saw something different, something guarded, something fractured that wasn't there before. He was hiding something, and Anna was ready to tear it out of him. She wasn't sure what would happen when they reached the cabin, but she couldn't turn back now. Too much was at stake. Finally, Cole pulled off the road, the gravel crunching under the tires. The cabin came into view, nestled at the edge of a dark forest, the lights barely visible through the trees. It was isolated, just like the man sitting next to her. "Get out," Cole said tersely as he parked the car. "We're not going to stay here long. This has to be quick." Anna didn't say anything. She opened her door and stepped into the cold night air, the silence pressing in around her. Her heart raced, anticipation curling in her chest. She knew this was the moment. She was about to find out everything, or everything would break apart. The cabin smelled of pine and wood smoke as they entered, the door creaking closed behind them. The interior was sparse, save for a small kitchen area and a worn leather couch. A fire crackled in the corner, casting long shadows across the room. Cole motioned toward the couch. "Sit," Anna did, but she couldn't stop the way her eyes darted around the room, every corner feeling like it held secrets she hadn't yet uncovered. Cole shut the door behind him and locked it, his movements methodical. Then he finally turned to face her, his face a mask of indecision. "You want the truth?" he asked, his voice quieter now, almost apologetic. "The whole truth?" Anna didn't answer. She just stared at him, waiting. His expression faltered under the weight of her gaze. "I've been trying to protect you, Anna," he said, his voice suddenly hoarse. "But I should have told you sooner. I should have trusted you with the truth. It's just, you wouldn't have believed me." "No, one would. But now, I don't know how much longer I can keep this from you." Anna leaned forward. "Then stop wasting time, Cole. Tell me what you've been hiding. Tell me what this is about." He took a deep breath, his eyes closing for a moment. When they opened again, they were full of something she couldn't name. Fear. Regret, maybe even resignation. It wasn't just a case, Cole began, his voice strained. It was always about more than that. You were right to question everything, Anna. You weren't just dealing with criminals. There's more at play here. Way more. Anna's heart hammered in her chest. She wasn't prepared for what he was about to say, but she needed to hear it. She needed to understand. The people Daniel got involved with, the cartel, the money laundering, the drugs, it's all connected to something bigger. They were never the top of the chain. They were just a small piece of the puzzle. He hesitated, then added, "The real power, the ones behind it all, are much closer than you think. They've been controlling everything from the shadows, pulling the strings, using people like Daniel to do their bidding." Anna's breath hitched. "Who?" Cole looked at her, eyes full of guilt and something darker, something like fear. "You'll hate me for this, but the truth is, it's your father." Her world tilted. She blinked, unable to process the words. "My father?" Anna whispered, barely able to speak. Cole nodded. "He's been working with them for years. You were never supposed to find out. They've used your family for leverage, for control, for money. He's been orchestrating this whole thing from the inside, and you never even knew. Anna's mind spun, trying to piece the fragments of this shocking revelation together. Her father, the man she had trusted most in the world. No, that can't be true, Anna said, shaking her head. My father, he wouldn't. I would have known. I would have seen it. You wouldn't have, Cole said softly. You were too close to the surface. You never saw the things he was involved in, the meetings, the deals. He's been working with them from the very beginning, using his position to cover their tracks. All the years of his so-called business dealings, it was all a front. A cover for something much darker. Anna's heart pounded in her chest, a mix of disbelief and betrayal flooding her veins. The image of her father, her rock, crumbled before her eyes. She had always known there were things he kept hidden. But this was something else entirely. You're lying, she whispered, her voice shaky. You're lying because you don't want me to trust you. You're trying to make me think I can't trust anyone. No, Cole said, shaking his head. I wish I were lying. I do, but I'm not. I've seen the records. I've seen the meetings, the phone calls, the money transfers. And I've been part of it, Anna. I've known about it. That's why I kept you out of it. That's why I wanted to protect you. Anna's world spun faster, everything around her collapsing in on itself. Her father, her husband. They had all been part of this web, entangled in something so much bigger than she had ever realized. Her throat was tight as she fought to keep her composure. She had to know the truth, no matter how painful. She had to understand it all. Where is he now? Anna's voice trembled, but she was determined to keep control. Where is my father? What has he done? Cole stood, walking to the fire, his back to her. I don't know, but I can tell you this. He's not the only one. There are more people involved. More people who will stop at nothing to keep this under wraps. They'll do whatever it takes to keep you from finding out. And they'll come after you, Anna. They won't stop until they've silenced everyone who knows too much. She stood, up quickly, anger flashing in her eyes. Then we stop them. We stop all of them. You can't, Cole said softly, turning to face her. It's too late for that. Anna stared at him, her heart pounding in her chest, each word from his mouth hitting her like a blow. She wanted to scream, to lash out, but she held herself back. One thing was clear. She couldn't trust anyone now, not even Cole. And yet, despite everything, she couldn't walk away. Not when her father was at the center of it all. This wasn't over. Not yet. To be continued. In this chapter, Anna's world is shattered when she learns the truth about her father's involvement in the conspiracy, and the layers of lies continue to unfold. As Anna confronts the crushing reality of betrayal, she must decide whether to trust Cole any longer and what her next steps will be.